Thank you for the invitation to present to the Azerbaijani Bar Association. I'm sorry that I'm in person on this occasion, but look forward to meeting you at future LAWASIA events. At its heart, the legal profession is a profession of service to the community. Service to our communities through promoting the administration of justice and facilitating the important work of the courts in upholding the rule of law. But the legal profession and the judiciary can only command respect and public confidence if they reflect the community that they serve. Better decision-making comes from the fact that different views are considered based on a person's background, including their gender. I'd like to talk to you today about the Australian experience in promoting equality before and in the law. In my country, Australia, we have been on a journey to increase the representation of women in senior ranks of the legal profession and the judiciary, which has led to an increase in the talent that can be recruited into important positions within the law. There is no doubt that the pipeline of talent in the Australian legal profession has become overwhelmingly female over the last 2 decades. It's important to note that law in Australia until the first quarter of the 20th century. In my home state of New South Wales, women were not able to practice until the law changed in 1918, which gave them the right to be admitted as lawyers. For the last 30 years, more women have graduated from law schools in Australia than men every year. More than 60%, 3 in 5 law students and graduates are women. In Australia, female solicitors have outnumbered their male colleagues since 2018. Last year, there were more than 9,300 solicitors practicing law in Australia. 55% were women. For the last 3 years, there have been more female solicitors than male solicitors in every state and territory in Australia. And for more than a decade, the growth rate of female solicitors has been significantly higher than the growth rate for men, 86% compared to 32%. Women are most strongly represented in the community legal and government legal sectors, where they make up around 70% of employed solicitors in each sector. In the corporate legal sector, that is, solicitors employed to work for corporations, women make up just under 2/3 of lawyers working within corporations. In 2022, women solicitors reached parity with men in private practice for the first time. The way that this has been achieved has been through several initiatives, but there has not been one single solution to the problem. There has been an increased focus on the commercial value of diversity. There has also been an increase in governments using women lawyers and in promotion within private law firms, because corporations who use private law firms have dictated to those firms that they want women lawyers working on their cases. But the challenge in Australia is not over yet. The challenge continues to be carrying those increased numbers of women within the legal profession through to the top levels of the profession and appointment as judges. While 62% of senior associates in private law firms are women, only 1 in 3 partners at mid and top tier firms are women. The Australian Financial Review reported last year that women will not reach equality as partners of the largest law firms in the country for another 10 years. That said, 46% of new partners in the first half of 2022 were women. So we are on the right trajectory. At the Australian bar, women barristers remain significantly underrepresented at all levels of seniority. Data from the Australian Bar Association showed that in 2021, of 6,379 practicing counsel, just 27% were women. Like the solicitor arm of the profession, women remain underrepresented at the highest levels. At the New South Wales Bar, the largest bar in Australia, only 13.8% of senior counsel are women. However, there has certainly been increased awareness of the importance of diversity and inclusion in recent years. There has been an increased focus on women being given important cases to run through the equitable briefing policy. So what is the equitable briefing policy, and is it something that the Azerbaijani Bar Association could consider promoting? Let me tell you a bit about it. The Law Council of Australia developed the equitable briefing policy in 2016 to seek to drive cultural change within the legal profession, support the progression and retention of women, and address the significant pay gap and underrepresentation of women lawyers practicing in the superior courts. The policy is something I advocated for as president of the Law Council and the New South Wales Bar Association, alongside many colleagues and advocates. The policy encourages anyone who retains a barrister, lawyer, to make all reasonable endeavours to brief or select women barristers with relevant seniority and expertise, experience or interest in the relevant practice area. The policy sets targets on retaining women barristers for at least 30% of all briefs and at least 30% of the value of all brief fees. Solicitors who brief barristers, corporations who retain barristers can all sign up to the policy and are encouraged to provide confidential data to the Law Council of Australia each year to help track national progress towards the 30% targets. Now, from 2007 to 2009, only 15% of barristers appearing before our highest court, the High Court of Australia, were women. Over the last 15 years, that figure has improved to 24% between 2019 and 2021. In terms of the judiciary, I should say that Australia's High Court is leading the profession by example. For the first 84 years of its existence, there were no women judges on the High Court. In 1987, Mary Gaudron was the first woman appointed to serve on the High Court bench. Since November 2022, for the first time in our nation's history, the Australian High Court has had a majority of female judges serving on the bench. This has resulted in a marked increase in the number of women being appointed to all levels of the judiciary. It has set an example for all Attorneys General to focus on appointing more women lawyers to the bench. According to the Australian Institute of Judicial Administration, 505 of Australia's 1,172 judges are women. This represents 43%, or 2 in every 5 judges. The statistics are slightly lower when we focus on the superior courts of Australia. Only 39% of superior court judges are women, compared to 46% of lower court judges. We have now reached the situation in Australia. The Chief Justice is a woman, and the majority of judges on our highest court are women. The Honourable Susan Kiefel AC was appointed Chief Justice of the High Court in 2017. In an important speech last year about equality in the profession, Her Honour said this: "Women lawyers are present in even greater numbers. They are taking leadership positions. They are succeeding and are in positions of authority. There are some areas, including at the highest levels, where women may not be being afforded the same opportunities as their male counterparts. And the reality is that family life for some will delay or render more difficult promotion or success. But generally, much has been achieved towards equality in the legal profession. Now, Chief Justice Kiefel, in her lecture last year, spoke of two kinds of equality: equality in terms of numbers, but also equality in terms of experience. Why is equality in numbers within the legal profession important? A critical mass is important to ensure diverse voices in the law are supported to continue to speak up and drive positive change in the legal profession, whether as lawyers or judges. Having people of both sexes on the bench leads to better decisions and promotes greater public confidence in those decisions, which in turn supports the authority of the court when applying the rule of law. Promoting diversity goes hand in glove with promoting merit, because it ensures that clients are presented with the widest range of suitable, talented lawyers to consider for cases, regardless of their sex. The human rights and rule of law considerations in favour of diversity are equally supported by a convincing business case. Diversity gives a competitive edge to law firms because it provides them with a greater pool of talent to select to undertake work for their clients. Equality in experience inevitably impacts on equality of numbers. Now, of course, not everything is perfect within the Australian legal profession. Women within our profession do continue to encounter significant inequality, discrimination, and bias. This directly affects female lawyers' work streams by affecting the number and value of work that is provided to them, as well as the salary that they receive for undertaking that work. This, in turn, creates challenges for retaining talented women in the law for the long term. Attrition rates within the legal profession in Australia are still too high when it comes to women. To continue to attract and retain women, the Australian legal profession must be an attractive place to work. Regard for basic human rights, equality, and a fair go should not be unrealistic demands of any workplace. So when bias, whether overt or unconscious, continues to deny women equal opportunities in law, whether to be briefed or appear in court or receive legal equal pay as their male colleagues, it is incumbent on the legal profession to address this injustice. The late US Supreme Court Associate Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg was the second woman to sit on the highest court in. Former President Barack Obama described her as a warrior for gender equality, someone who believed that equal justice under law only had meaning if it applied to every single citizen. Her Honour once told a university graduation that she subscribes to what Justice O'Connor wrote in the Michigan Law School case: to cultivate leaders with legitimacy in the eyes of the citizenry, the path to leadership must be visibly opened to the talented, individuals of every race and ethnic background. Effective participation by members of minority groups and women in the civil life of any nation is essential if the dream of one nation, indivisible, is to be realised. And that, of course, applies to all countries. Her Honour went on to say this: "We will all profit from a more diverse, inclusive society, understanding, accommodating, even celebrating our differences while pulling together for the common good." So in conclusion, can I share this with you? While progress may not always be as quick as we'd like, the legal profession and the community in Australia are certainly alert to the dangers of inequality in the law and are committed to continuing to work to overcome it. I think our justice system in Australia is the better and fairer for it. I would like to learn from the work that has been undertaken by the Azerbaijani Bar Association during this conference, because I'm sure that we can also learn from you in this area, as I hope you might be able to learn from us what we have done in this area as well. I look forward to meeting each and every one of you at any future LAWASIA functions that you may attend. And I thank you once again for providing me with this opportunity to address you. My best wishes.